So here's my spin on Apple and their decision not to hack into the cell phone of the terrorist for the FBI. Now, some people are seeing this as some sort of a moral issue. I see it a bit as more of a technical issue, and let me break that down. Let's talk about what that is and what it isn't. If you are in possession of somebody's cell phone, whether they be a criminal or not, and you're trying to investigate that person, most of the criminal investigation is going to come from who they called, who they didn't call, who they sent a message to, who they did not send a message to. So here we have a known bad guy. We know that he was a terrorist, and they have possession of his cell phone. And the issue is, do they need to have access to physically hacking that phone to get that information? The answer is no. Should they be knocking on Apple's door in the first place? Now, again, I'm talking from the technical standpoint, not anything else. And the reality is no, because whether or not I even have my cell phone or not, those records are in the hands of my mobile carrier. They're not in Apple's hands, and even though they're on the device, the records for who I called, who I did not call, when I called, and all that are in my they're in my mobile carrier account. So if you have access to AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile, they can give them all the information as to who they called, how long they called, etc. Now, second issue is text messages. Well, text messages technically go through the carrier, and the question is, well, how long did they save them? Once again, this is not an issue that should be part of Apple's problem. Those messages should be potentially stored in a cloud-based server and not necessarily only on the device. So that, again, should be something that they address with the carriers so that the text messages are logged there. They don't need to or shouldn't need to hack into somebody's mobile phone to get that. So on a technical level, again, that should be something that isn't necessarily stored on the device. Now, other than that, if you think about it, if I were to find, or someone were to find my iPhone right now, what other information would they actually get in there? Well, there's my contact list. But if you were a bad guy, a terrorist, you wouldn't put anybody into your contact list unless you actually were calling them. And if you were actually calling them, well, back again to my first point, then they actually have them in my phone records. And if you put them into your contact list but never called them, well, they're pretty much useless. So the point of hacking into somebody's phone to get a list of phone numbers from that list, and they aren't even the people they've actually contacted, seems a little silly. So to me, that's a redundant point. They don't need to get into it to get to your contact list again, or otherwise they'd get it from your phone records. What other things would they get in there? Well, photographs. All right, if the terrorist was taking pictures, what kind of pictures are going to be in there that are going to be useful to a criminal investigation? And once again, those are things that can be turned on in the cloud because of the way Apple does that. But even if they didn't, the photos themselves, I'm sure, are not going to give them any real evidence. Other than that, you have apps, you have music. There's not much else you can get out of the phone. So I'm still trying to figure out why they want to hack an individual cell phone when they can get most of the useful stuff directly from the phone carriers. And my explanation of this is part of today's idea of the day. So hey, I hope you liked today's idea of the day. And while you're still there, click the little subscribe links in the corners. That would be the greatest thing in the world, because if you do, you'll see a brand new idea each day. And I promise you, some of them don't suck.